Oh, we're in season 4, and Pete has finally turned mean.
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
I don't know if the rest of the listeners out there know this because they don't see the behind the curtain. But Pete is his responses to on text messages and that sort of thing. He's very short. He's curt. I got in trouble for my pops, my microphone popping. Yeah, today he finally broke them, and that's what's been one of the most interesting arcs of this entire podcast.
And minute 40 was the one that broke me.
Wow.
Is this your this is the minute like Marcus at the train station and all that for you?
This is the stamp for Tom.
Oof. Wow.
Oh man. Those big
Woo.
words.
Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones, it's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where one of your hosts becomes enraged at lazy filmmaking and made-up historical nonsense 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete Mummert, and this minute makes me tired.
Wow. I'm Tom Taylor, and I can't wait to see what's about to happen.
Gerald Christopher. I got time. Order.
But to start this minute on a high note, I would like to welcome my best friend that I've never met in person yet. Fellow walker, great music lover, all-around great guy, Mark Heidemann. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Pete. That was a very nice intro. It's great to be with you guys. This is exciting.
Awesome.
And I can't wait to hear. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what terrible things or wonderful things are going to happen.
I know, really.
In this minute.
Yep. Well, this minute starts with something very positive. With Indy and Mutt flying over the famous Nazca spider, and then it ends with Indy and Spielberg just making a bunch of shit up.
Oh, this is fun.
Well, this is good. Well, first, I had a question. Do you think when you see this opening shot of them flying over the Nazca lines, do you think Indy will just land the plane on the Nazca lines and pick up the gravel? Sell it to scoop it up and sell it to quote the museum.
Yeah, this is the hummingbird's wing.
Right. It's gonna be
Harrison Ford will just skid to a stop in it or something.
Yeah,
like an emergency landing.
Be a big cloud of dust and a big cloud of smoke.
I just have the note dust and chickens, because like our establishing image for Mexico is just dust and chickens. We hear chickens, we see some chickens, and a lot of dust as they're sort of left here at the airport, I guess.
Well, you're getting into my rage right here at the beginning, Tom. Yeah,
I was going to say they're in Peru.
Oh, what did I say? Mexico?
You said Mexico, but there's a good reason for you to say Mexico. Which Jerry, when Mutt's sitting here flipping his switchblade, what do you think? What feeling do you get from this music that's playing?
Oh, you know what I get? The feeling I get is that maybe I'm on a journey to Akator. By John Williams.
I'll tell you what I get.
Shazammed it, Pete.
I'll tell you what I get. I get the Mexican hat dance.
Yeah.
I
did too.
Yeah.
I went back and forth about this as I was like taking notes. I was like, do I make a big deal out of this, or is this just like a, kind of overly like we went like, okay, at Lao She's at the very beginning of Temple of Doom, we spent a few hours on, is it possible to have the notes involved in anything and not have it be racist?
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, so this sounds, you've got like the horns, and it sounds like the Mexican hat dance. And I don't know if it's like literally the Mexican hat dance. It was very close.
It's close.
So like, is that inherently racist? Because if you went to like France and you played like an accordion or whatever and stuff, and there's somebody like, strolling down the Seine or something, that's not that's just sort of like a national, like, lazy shorthand.
I'm going to tell you why it's inherently racist.
Oh, thank you, Pete.
Mexico is several thousand miles away from Peru.
Yeah.
Mexico has nothing to do with Peru. They speak Spanish in both countries. That's the beginning and ending of the similarities. And this whole minute is, you know what? All these people south of our southern border are the same.
Right.
You know what sucks? That's me. That's like, that worked on me. I forgot that they were going to Peru because they played this music, and I see a guy with a sombrero or something, and I'm like, oh yeah, down south.
But they double and triple and treble, quadruple down on that in this minute.
So.
But you know, there's actually one thing that it kind of sticks in my craw, because when you have the plane going over the map at first, and then you're thinking, all right, this is going to be fun, and then the next shot, when you are just with the chickens and the plane taking off, he does this thing where he has everybody, he has the two characters looking basically at the camera, doing like a Laurel and Hardy bit, and I don't think that's necessary, because you're supposed to be laughing, I guess, but I don't know. It's a very strange thing. It's kind of like when earlier in the film, you guys have probably already talked about this, but when they're in the Area 51, where they open up the doors, and the 51 is facing inside, with them.
Yeah.
It's like, it's these gags to point stuff out to us. But, don't they know where they are? That kind of thing.
Yeah, which area am I in again?
Yeah, and so, like, who gets off a plane and stares at it? You just landed,
right,
in theory, in Peru, right? You just landed there. Don't you want to look around and see where you are? No, they get off and they just stare at the plane until it's gone, and then they turn around. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
It plays like they're like sort of dejected or something. Like, the plane went away without us. Like, that's exactly what's supposed to happen. They dropped you off. You're here.
And I guess that might be part of the joke, going, oh, this is where they left us. I thought this was going to be nicer. I don't know.
Well, it's also kind of like a stage play.
What's funny is there is a laugh track to this. It is a joke. And the joke is the chickens cackling.
Right.
I'm not kidding. If you
Crystal
listen
Skull
to it
was
again,
filmed before a live studio audience.
Yeah. They do. They kind of they laugh like it's supposed to be a comedic scene.
It's
but
like
I'm
our
not
friend
sure why.
Christopher Dennis DeGuardia's backyard. He's got a ton of chickens.
Oh wow.
It's funny, Pete. I actually wondered what this festive music was, and so I Shazammed it.
Mm-hmm.
And you might know this. I thought you would, and I had a note about it. It actually is, quote, "The Journey to Akator" by John Williams.
Wow.
So that's the like. This was something that was obviously written, for this scene.
Now, see, why didn't they do what he did in Donovan's apartment in Last Crusade and just take like some Peruvian instruments and play like the Imperial March or something?
Yeah, that would have been.
You're gonna write something here. Just have some fun with it.
I mean, they did put a couple of little very soft pan flutes in the background, but it's still. The music is straight up Mexican.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, Pete.
Tommy's like, so they land in Mexico.
Yeah, well, I swear to God, they messed me up.
It's exactly what they did.
I mean, I literally wrote down in my notes Speedy Gonzalez music. That's what it says in my notes.
Well,
hey, I have a question about the plot of this movie.
Yeah.
Indy's all excited because he found some guys who have seen Oxley and point him to where Oxley was taken and stuff, or where he was last seen. Why are they looking for Oxley? Because the last thing that they know is that Oxley is still being held by the Russians. And as far as Indy knows from the riddle that he has, that Oxley's got into his hands, he's supposed to follow this riddle to find the skull. And like the first part of that was the Nazca lines will point to Ariana's cradle or something. So
that's a good point.
It feels like they're kind of going off the grid here a little bit, like on a side mission.
See, I'm thrilled because I always think I'm really stupid when it comes to movies. But my note is I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Quote, Ox wandered into town a couple of months ago, raving like a madman. The police locked him up in the sanitarium, and I'm going, I thought Ox was kidnapped by Russians while and
Right.
they were holding him, and then so I wondered, after many months of confinement in this sanitarium, did Ox send the letter? Like,
Yeah, I
is
don't
the
know. The whole
return
sequence
is
is
the
really
return
weird.
address the sanitarium? And didn't he send I can't. Did he send the letter to Marion? Right, he sent the letter to
Yeah.
Mary.
Right.
Yeah, to Mary.
I was under the impression that she and Oxley were captured, at least at one point they were captured together, and she got away and then got a letter from Oxley somehow. And
No,
then
that's
called
what I
Mutt,
thought.
but didn't tell him anything useful, and then
Yeah.
sent him that letter.
So they bought a plane ticket to go to Peru,
or Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, or Mexico,
Mexico land.
to find where the Russians are holding the Ox. Right?
I mean, okay,
That's
the
what-
overriding mission, the reason why Mutt and Indy are together is because they're going to kill your friend Oxley. Like, we gotta save Oxley and I guess his mom too. He didn't mention that at first, but he's got to save his mom too. So I guess that's the main mission. But then they're also, like, based on this riddle, they're also trying to chase down the skull.
Right.
So I don't know what their plan is to, like, if they get the skull, I don't know how they're supposed to find the Russians
Mm-hmm.
to, like, get the skull to them so they can let Oxley go. If that's the plan, I don't know.
Or is
I
there
don't know.
something? Is it so he has the letter, and the letter is filled with riddles, and that's how they know to go to Peru?
Mm-hmm.
So are they trying to find Oxley, or are they trying to find the skull, or are they just like, I guess, let's go to Peru, let's go to Nazca, because they talk about the lines above the,
Mm-hmm.
that
the
only the
gods
gods
can
can see.
Yeah.
God, how funny would that be if they was talking about like out of the Great Wall of China, something else to be seen?
Oops.
Yeah. And they're like, I guess if we go there, then Oxley will be there too, in a Russian's basement or
I
something.
love that he's in China. It's like they're in the wrong half of the
I guess
world.
it said,
gonna
Oriana's
be
cradle.
embarrassed.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really is confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, I keep, like, the last couple of movies have had really convoluted, like, they make it sound
Yeah.
like this is a map, or this is a riddle. This is like a clear, like, A to
Right.
B to C kind of thing, but it's not at all. It's always really confusing.
Yeah.
Like, back in the old days, you had a staff of Ra that would show you where the ark was, and you get the ark, you go home.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Use staff on map room. Where do you want to do the map room? Use map room on Well of Souls. That kind of thing.
Well, I'd like to, like, basically punch Pete in his wounded arm,
Oh, come
just
on.
like
Okay.
the Nazi does the Indies in the truck chasing
Uh-huh.
Raiders.
Uh,
I think this might be why you're upset here, Pete. I'm just throwing
Okay.
this out there.
well, we're just about at strike 2, so we'll see.
Okay.
Don't add fuel to the fire. He's fine being furious on his own.
No. I'm saying
So-
there's a strike 2 and it's strike 3 and maybe more.
Oh, okay.
I think we're at the part of the
Right.
minute where I think it's strike 2.
I might be popping ahead, but we might as well carve this bird up. So the first Indiana Jones TV series.
Mm.
I knew we were going to go there.
Yep.
I just knew it. But all right, go ahead.
I don't even need to. Pete is dead silent. And for those listening at home, I probably don't need to finish this sentence.
Go ahead, Jerry.
So the first Indiana Jones TV series has influenced and informed Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
They're
now we have
directly referencing Young Indiana Jones
Yes.
Chronicles. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. And now Harrison Ford is corroborating this Scooby-Dooitude. And it's happening
Yeah.
before my eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the worst part about it, though. I think.
What is the worst part? Because I wonder if you're going to say
yeah.
what I'm going to say.
Indy is talking to these two guys in the marketplace, And Mutt's like, I took Spanish and I didn't understand a word of that. What was it? And Indy says Quechua, local Indian dialect, which is great. That's what they would be speaking, if he's in Cusco. Although he's not in Cusco, he's in Nazca. And I don't know if they speak Quechua in Nazca. But Mutt says, where'd you learn that one? And Indy says, long story. And Mutt says, I got time. And Indy says, I rode with Pancho Villa. A couple of his guys spoke it. And that, I mean, again, Cusco is 4,000 miles away from the Mexican-United States border. So he might as well say, I mean, a couple of guys riding with Pancho Villa could have spoken any language on earth, and it would have made just as much sense.
Right.
There's no reason at all why there would be Quechua guys riding with Pancho Villa.
I wondered about that. And just the idea that, like, oh, yeah, 2 guys spoke it, and so that's all we spoke until I learned it for, like, the 2 months I was with them.
Right. Yeah. And
I've retained it all this time.
I mean, that would have been somewhere between, 1913 and 1920, something like that?
Yeah.
If he was kidnapped. So he
was kidnapped in 1916.
In 16 is when he was kidnapped? All right. And how did that happen?
There was a raid on a border town.
Okay.
Which this will come up at the end of the minute because they get some crazy stuff wrong there too, with their own canon. But
right.
Okay.
Yeah. So Pancho Villa raided a small town on the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas, or I guess the U.S.-Mexico border, and kidnapped Indy.
Okay. All right.
And that's when Indy joined his band.
Right. Okay.
But he's talking about all this stuff about, like, yeah, we were in a war with, I forget the guy's name. But he, like, yeah, is that even in that episode?
No, and this is why that is stupid.
Yeah, right. They're like fighting the U.S. Army, right? They're fighting like Pershing.
They are, but
yeah.
So Pancho Villa's raid on Columbus when they kidnapped Indy was in 1916. Victoriano Huerta, who Indy's spitting about, he was deposed in 1914, and then he was exiled to Europe, and then he died before Indy even met Pancho Villa in 1916. So Indy never fought against Victoriano Huerta. It's just like there's no reason why he would be angry about Huerta.
It's basically a Mexican hat dance name.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
They threw in.
Oh, they're always all mad at each other and having spitting fights.
Yeah.
And they cut open a chicken or something. I don't know.
So Indy spits when he says that guy's name, which is fascinating. We've never seen him do that before, but I wonder, does he do that if someone mentions Belloc,
right, or Hitler,
right,
yeah. I don't think so,
or even like Mola Ram.
Right. Does every
what if someone mentions
culture have its own like spitting or crossing yourself or flipping the bird or something or like you mention somebody evil?
Dust.
Yeah. Or is it just the name Dolores Huerta? Like what if Huerta? What if it's Dolores Huerta? Like does he spit when he hears her name?
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe we're misreading it. Maybe it was a real mouthful for him at the time. I mean, Tommy, you're always saying I'm real cute when I get a little bit agitated and I get a little too much spit in my mouth. I have to empty my mouth, kind of like the trumpet valve.
Oh, God.
Maybe that's maybe we're reading too much into it. His mouth was just filled with saliva.
It is a dusty area. You just might be choking down some dust and use the spit.
I have to admit, the first time I saw it, I actually just thought, oh, is that just Indy? Like, he's in a dusty town and he's spitting.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the second time I'm like, oh, it's right after he says that guy's name. All right, it's got to be that.
Yeah.
But I guess, it is dusty down there. It's pretty gross.
Right.
But,
so which is the bigger sin, that he gets the writers are getting history wrong, or that they're getting their own canon wrong, and that they're going through? It's amazing that they're going to the effort of directly referencing the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, which was not even among indie fans, not hugely beloved, or like but it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of cool that they took the effort to like make a direct reference to that, but then they get it wrong. Like. People who did watch the show are going to be like, what are you talking about? That's not what happened.
There's also a fourth option.
Okay.
Is that Indy is simply embellishing the truth for Mutt's sake?
Oh,
Like, and he's trying
maybe.
to sound like
Oh.
he did more than he did.
Right.
Which would be dumb because
Wow.
he did like every possible thing. And
Yeah, he did a lot of cool stuff. It was
Yeah.
an
Oh,
exciting
yeah.
story on its face.
Well, we said he's like this archaeologist grave robbing Forrest Gump.
Right. Yeah.
You know, he's kind of
Yeah. I was in a fist fight with Winston Churchill and FDR once. And
Yeah.
They both lost. Yeah.
Yep. But then we get strike 3, which is the biggest strike of all, I think.
Oh,
God, I
can't
cannot
wait to hear
wait.
this.
wow. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm dying to know.
So the Indian Mutt are walking through the marketplace, and on the right of the screen, there are 3 guys dressed up like Humphrey Bogart, Walter Houston, and Tim Holt from Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
No
Oh my
way.
God. Wait a minute. I'm going
Really?
back. Hang on.
What second?
Let me find it.
Everybody, open your books. Turn to page 40. When you hear this sound, turn the page.
Second 52 and 53 and 54.
Oh, weird. Those guys on the right?
Yeah, that's Humphrey Bogart.
That's hysterical.
That's them. Like that's their That's their exact costume. They look the same.
That's,
that's-
really funny.
But
Wow.
again, where did Treasure of the Sierra Madre take place? Northwestern Mexico.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
Yeah, that's
I-
all right.
this
Strike
is,
three.
I guess, this is a big. It seems like introducing the Pancho Villa kidnapping Indiana Jones Chronicles TV show into the actual Indiana Jones movie. That's, that's crossing streams to me. That seems dangerous. Mark,
Mhm.
I trust
Yes.
you. We're a little dizzy over here, and you have like a good head on your shoulders, and you also have a profound love for Indiana Jones. Where am I out of bounds for that? Is that cute and clever, or does that feel like no? We're watering everything down with light beer.
Yeah.
Is that called leading the witness?
Hey, remember, you're under oath here, Mark.
Well, I will say going in, I was like, this was a disappointment. It was terrible. But I will say rewatching it, my expectations were low, so I could enjoy it on some level, where I didn't hate it. But yeah, I do agree with you. I don't think that was a good idea. It was because it's almost like they're saying, oh, we'll just grab something that, because people might ask, in his past, what did he do? How can we make it relate to be interesting for the Mutt character? Oh, the whole Pancho Villa thing. But it does seem almost like they're not really paying any attention to where they actually are, or it seems really lazy. It really does.
This is a very strange, like the next 2 minutes are a very strange sort of like Aaron Sorkin walk and talk for kind of no reason. Like, like you get stuff about Mutt in the next minute, like it's, almost interesting and stuff, and kind of.
I think the next minute's better at that.
But it's do they just need something to talk about for a minute or something? I will say this, like, if you're not listening to what they're talking about, and if you just showed me, if I had never seen this movie and you showed me an image of Indiana Jones in his full Indiana Jones gear, walking with this kid, this like teenager with like a clearly 50s, biker thing going
Marlon
on.
Brando, Wild One.
Yeah, exactly.
Wild bunch, as Tom says.
Wild bunch, Wildberry crunch.
Wild thing.
Well, in this setting, in a very, Indiana Jones-ish setting, whatever that means, I would kind of see this image and go, oh, that's cool. I'd watch that movie. That looks like a cool, 20 years later Indiana Jones movie. That's kind of, I want to see what's going on. This is like a good, I like watching these next 2 minutes. It looks cool. It looks like an Indiana Jones movie I'd like to see.
I kind of think like the intent must have been they want to make Indy interesting, or to Mutt. They want to have this is a cool guy. So when you get the reveal later,
that's true.
Right.
Like so far he's been like he found out he's a teacher. He's like, oh, whatever. Like, big deal. That's that's great. So now like he's what are you 80? Oh, you're pretty good in a fight. So very slowly he's kind of. Yeah, this is kind of like a big bag of, oh, wait, this guy might be cool.
Yeah, because then suddenly, it's bull, whatever. It's like he actually swears in that which seems kind of
Yeah.
weird. You know, it almost
Well,
doesn't fit.
he's
to me,
starting to take a shine to this old man.
Exactly.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that's the intent. It's just kind of a weird way to get there.
It's also, it seems odd to me that he's so dismissive of Indy's age when he has such a close relationship with the Ox, who's like older than Indy.
Right.
Right.
And again, John Hurt, even if he's the same age as Harrison Ford, is twice the age of Harrison Ford.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
No matter how old he is, John Hurt is twice as old.
You know what? You know how in Temple of Doom we didn't call them the mine car, we call them the trolley cars, right?
You called them mine trolleys.
Mine
Yeah,
trolleys.
mine trolleys.
Thank you. That was it.
Trolley cars.
I'm having a really, really hard time, and I can't take myself seriously calling this character the Ox.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with Oxley or
Yeah.
we could anything. Keep calling.
I feel like
him
when
the
you
Ox.
meet him, he should be a huge college jock with like a leather jacket and stuff,
Yeah.
and he's like drinking a keg straight out of the thing, and
He has like tiny little legs and this giant barrel chest.
yeah,
or actually an ox.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. But I'm never comfortable, and I'm always, I can't say it with a straight face.
Yeah, just call him Mr. Oxley from now on.
Yeah.
We haven't even met him.
But then wouldn't he also be Doc Ox, which is the dangerous?
Oh my God.
to go through,
Oh,
right?
whoa.
Can we please just call him Doc Ox from now on?
Doc Ox, yeah.
Thank you, Heidemann. That's awesome.
Sure, no problem.
But by the way, so he does Mutt drops a big BS bomb.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And is it? I know, like we had Indy muttered the S word on Katanga's ship
Mm-hmm.
back
Right.
in Raiders, and we got some German shizes. I don't know if that counts. But I'm just trying to think how many cuss words have we had in the series so
Yeah,
far?
there
It's
haven't
like the
really
third.
been many. To me, that jumped out at me. It felt like it wasn't necessarily very
Yeah.
Indiana Jones-ish to me.
It was
Yeah.
like data saying
Yeah.
generations.
Exactly.
Oh
Right.
God. I mean, but
Cheers with me.
they're trying to paint. Well, two things. They're trying to paint that Mutt is edgy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
He doesn't
that's
care.
the thing.
He'll
Yeah,
cuss in front of an adult.
Yeah, he'll cuss in front of an 80-year-old dad. Yeah, teacher. He'll cuss in front of the teach. He calls him teach.
Yeah.
For Christ's
right.
sake.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that kind of is parts and parcel, and the next minute about his relationship with teachers in school, but also it does stick
Yeah.
out because you're like, oh, he here's our point. We're like, oh my gosh, we've turned to here's a pivot point where maybe Mutt has some interest in this old man.
Mhm.
It's a
Right.
bonding pivot
Yeah.
staple,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Think. Yeah.
Oh, I should correct one thing. I don't know if this is ever verified, but in the cuss count, Steve Crouch insisted that he dropped an F-bomb in Cairo. Indy did.
Oh, right.
Chasing the
Yes,
baskets.
that's
Right.
true. That's
Right.
true.
I'm the only one counting, but it's important
Well,
to me.
speaking of Mutt and F-bombs, Tommy, question,
Yes.
and Mark, I'd like to get your opinion here too.
All right.
We keep talking about our ongoing Mutt watch.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it's where we check in, minute by minute with Mutt, because we say, many people blame him for ruining the movie and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So where are we right now? What's the Doppler Mutt whatever it is, the Mutt watch?
I think we should
Tommy.
let Mark answer first because he
Mhm.
doesn't know where we.
Yeah, I have no
are
idea
leaning.
where you guys
Yeah.
are.
So yeah, what's your take
well-
on this fella?
I'm not loving Mutt.
Okay.
Okay.
I just don't care for the name. The whole Wild One thing is too cartoony. I guess his character, and even Kate Blanchett's character later, there's just like you would never have those characters in Raiders. They just wouldn't be in Raiders. They're just these
that's
are
very
just
true.
Yeah.
And so for me, he gets better at points. He's not the worst. But I've just never really loved him. And when you see him in a scene with Indy, to me, like he doesn't raise his game to Harrison Ford's level. It's like kind of like Harrison Ford's the more interesting one whenever they're together.
Yeah.
So,
well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How much of your take on Mutt is influenced by Shia LaBeouf?
Oh, I mean, I never, even the first time I saw him, I didn't even know who he was. I'm like, who is this guy playing Mutt? Okay. but I don't know. He was all right. You know, it's like, but I just kind of felt like wasn't there a better option, you know, for, I just never really understood why he was the one they went with. It just, like, I could even see maybe doing one of those Back to the Future things where they start with one actor and they're like, this isn't working. Let's just drop him.
Eric Stoltz would have met a great Mutt.
Right, somebody else. I mean, you know, it's I don't know. To me, it's just he's not swinging it for me. What about you guys?
I think for this minute, for these 3 minutes, I think Mutt's great. Not great, but I think he's fine. I think he's
right.
I think this is peak Mutt as far as Mutt being okay.
Yeah.
That sounds weird.
Tommy?
Jerry and I are a little weird. So far, we've been like staunchly in Mutt's camp. We've been sort of enjoying his, I think I'm going to be struggling with this the whole time because I don't remember where I was at in 2008 when this came out, but I get the sense that I was turned off by the idea of Shia LaBeouf being in the movie.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, oh, who's this Mutt Joker?
Yeah.
Right.
But watching this movie now, I'm kind of, I'm still sort of, there's something very natural and easy about him that I'm kind of enjoying. And I'm liking I'm kind of enjoying his constantly almost pissed off nature and Indy constantly, you know, reining him back in, saying, you don't have to get so hot all the time. Just sit down.
Right.
So I'm kind of enjoying all that. And I'm in this minute, I'm still on board with old Mutt.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
I feel bad. Heidemann's smart,
No.
and I'm disagreeing
No,
with him.
well, I think, I mean, our Mutt Watch is a minute by minute thing, and Heidemann gave us like the extended forecast.
Right.
That's totally fair. Yeah, that's true.
which is fair and accurate and correct. You know, I think we're just talking about, you know, what's the weather
Just this minute.
this afternoon. Yeah.
All right. I apologize because I did give you the long range forecast, but I will say this minute serviceable for me.
Okay. I'm what's
but
so
next minute's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's it. What's so dizzying, and Tommy and I are struggling with this is that I like Mutt in this minute. And I like him so far. I like him, and it's one of those topsy turvy things where the parts are greater than the sum. And
you asked a really good question at the very beginning of this whole thing, Jerry. Like the first time Mutt came up, you were like, "Is this going to turn out to be a sort of Willie thing, where the character is annoying, but the actor is doing a really good job with it, or doing as much as they can with it, or something?" And I wonder if that's the case with old Mutt.
I really
like now I'm still on board with him, but yeah, later on when we get annoyed by him,
I really liked his bullshit.
Yeah,
I really liked
I knew you would
it.
like that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but because I don't know, it made sense.
Yeah.
Except that everything he was talking about made no sense. So,
so it's actually accurate.
Yeah.
That's the perfect. That's a great example. We have the afternoon forecast versus the forecast for the season.
Yeah.
It's
his South American history.
Yeah. Today it's partly sunny. Well, it's sunny, but the season it's a rainy, stormy one.
Well, speaking of partly sunny, Jer.
Yes, speaking of partly sunny,
any rays of information or greetings coming through, or
coming through over the wire, and it's still amazing because it is storming out, and it's still it's still working. This just in from my sister, Professor Christy Porter. What move is Mutt practicing with his switchblade?
Good question.
That is a good question.
Because he's catching the blade half the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he's very good at it.
Well,
right.
It
looks like he learned it right before they started shooting.
Yeah, and he doesn't even look at it. I guess he's supposed to be so good he doesn't even have
Well,
to
that makes
watch
it cool,
himself do
yeah.
it. Yeah, but it would be funnier almost if his hand was just really bloody at that moment.
He's missing a
That was
finger.
Well, so is he doing that because he's anxious and he's fidgeting, or is he actually practicing, some sort of death, choreographed move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going like, I'd kick him like this, and I'd hit him like that, and I'd slice him like this. It's from the Little Rascals. Isn't that's stymie, isn't it? I'd hit him like
I think
this,
so,
and
yeah.
I'd kick him like that.
Where'd you kick him? You know what this reminds me of, actually? It reminds me of Jack Klugman and 12 Angry Men, when he has to demonstrate to everybody that, no, the kid wouldn't stab the guy down and in. Well, you don't stab with a switchblade. You underhand like that.
Right.
I like that.
We're all learning something here.
Yep. Well, speaking of learning something here, Mark, I don't know if you have anything you would like to share with people. Any place you'd like to send people?
Well, yeah, I don't have anything cool like you guys have, but I do work at a film archive, so that's pretty cool. It's historic films. We have lots of cool old footage and great music performances, and we got lots of stuff in our in various feature films and commercials and all that kind of stuff. And we're in Ken Burns's country music series.
Oh,
that's
awesome!
running right now.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Awesome.
We got
Incredible.
about a half an hour of stuff in that.
Nice.
Oh,
So
very cool.
yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
So thanks.
Cool. And we are not in Ken Burns's country music series
That we know of.
that we know of, but we are on Patreon. If you'd like to support the show and you want to hear an entire episode about the first episode of Young Indiana Jones, where Pancho Villa shows up, for a small monthly donation, you can get our bonus content where you get to hear our shows like this, or where we talk about Close Encounters or Jaws or E.T. or Superman or all kinds of The Mummy, all kinds of stuff. And you can find that at indianajonesminute.com/Patreon or patreon.com/indianajonesminute. And after all that, you can join us back here Wednesday for minute 41 of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.